There you go. So, hello. We have a new beautiful creator joining today. So, hello, Renate. So good to see you. I have known her. Hi. So good to have you. I haven't seen you for a long time. I used to work with Renate when I was living in Mallorca. And that was, well, like 3 years ago. We were for some time working together. She also joined some of my retreats in Mallorca, and it was so amazing. And she has shifted and changed and transformed so much, and I'm so happy that you're back for another level, because this is what we are doing here. We are always going to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. So we are always expanding. So what we are going to do today is pretty much what we've been doing on our last call. And I just want to, I know our last call was really like potent and powerful, and there was like so much stuff in it, and I really have squeezed everything in it. And as I promised to you, I am going to kind of step back 2 steps and go back to, even if I'm not going to go back to each slide individually, but I actually stepped back 2 steps, and then I'm going to start building up from there. So in case that you felt like, oh my God, like it's just so much, and it's like so like overwhelming, like how am I going to embody all this? Like, no worries. I even told you last time that I packed everything there. So in order to see it, to have it in one place, but then I'm going to come back, and we're going in the next few weeks to open it up. So this is what I prepared for you today. We are going to go and start opening up, and I'm bringing back some of the slides from last week, and then really going deeper. So what I'm going to do today, I really put it even more in simpler words, even more clear, more understandable. And I'm bringing a lot of more examples from my life and examples that you haven't heard. I mean, I have so many examples of transformations, which I didn't even realize until lately, that I've changed so many things in my life. And I'm going to share today an example, a very vulnerable example from my private life. And so everything is today built up step by step, so you understand it. And in the end, I created a process that I think is going to help you. It helped me as well to embody the new identity that you desire. And yeah, that's really it. I hope you're doing well today. And it was so powerful, these energies. Did you feel anything this week with the new moon and the solar eclipse? Was there anything for you? Like me personally, I kind of felt this shift of the old and the new. It was so somehow so powerful. It was more a feeling, and of something it completely ended, like a cycle completely ended, and it's a completely new cycle starting. And even I said yesterday to someone, it felt like until now we were more like trying to figure out who we are and how things work, and we were failing and succeeding and going up and down, and kind of I felt like I understand now, I figured it out. And I'm starting a completely new cycle where now I know how things work, and it's like a huge upgrade. This is what I felt that these energies were about for me. And I kind of seen that a lot of people had the same idea or experience, that they had this shift of something new, it's coming now. and something old and our old selves we are leaving behind. So with that said, actually my whole presentation is about the same topic. So kind of, it's so funny that it's always so on point with what's going on without me consciously being aware of that. But of course, it cannot be any other way, because we are going with what's being shown to us, even though we are not always aware. So today, are you ready? Are you ready? Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. Okay, so I'm going to start with the presentation to just give you the information, and then we're going to have the Q&A as last time, and all the other things. I just want to get, like, just put this out there. So we have it again. I'm going to also give it to you in PDF, so you can just go back, study it, because there's like a lot of oh my gods in it. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen. And I think today I'm going to do it a little bit differently than last time. I'm going to go directly into Canva, and I'm going to do the presentation from Canva. So you just let me know if you see it this way. There you go. Good? You see? Yes? You see the whole screen, and it's all good. Yeah, just give me a thumbs up just to know that you are seeing it well. Yes, Claire, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so easy code, how to choose a new reality and shift timelines. In case that you have not seen the presentation from last week, I'm telling to those of you who, like Renate, for example, don't worry, it doesn't really matter, because this is on itself, it's self-explanatory, so you will understand it anyway. So this is what we really, really, really want to understand. Like, how can we go from something that we don't want into a reality that we actually do want to experience? And this is what I'm going to open up today here. So this is the slide from the last one, and where I'm going to go back in today's presentation is really talking about this transition between the second and the third, not between third and fourth, which I was more talking about last time, because I realized that, yes, there are some people who are already in between 3 and 4, but also there is more who are only between 2 and 3. So I really felt like I want to go back 2 steps and really pay a lot of more attention to these two different consciousness levels. So in order for all of you to remember what we were talking about last time, there are these 4 stages of consciousness that everyone here on planet Earth goes through in this incarnation. I don't know what's beyond the 4th level of consciousness, because we are not there yet. I think that's what actually is the 5th dimensional experience, is what I've talked about it a few times. But while we are still working from our mind, and we still have it, and it's still our #1 tool to process reality, I'm only going to just talk about these 4 levels. So as just a quick reminder, because then I'm going to go to talk more about the second and the third. So the first one obviously is the level where none of you is, which is good news. So it was the level where you believe that you are completely separate from reality, like you have nothing to do with the reality outside of you. There is you, and there's everybody else out there, and then you have like nothing to do with them, and then you are in this stage or understanding that everything is happening to you. You have no control over that. People are doing this to me, and people are doing that to me. You don't know that there is any connection between, you, the way you think, and the people's behavior out there, the situation, the circumstances, and all of that. So this is, I believe, I think I'm really optimistic saying 95% of the world. I think it's actually less than that. But let's say that's 95% still in that level of consciousness. Now, I'm going to just go and show you and talk a little bit more about the second stage. And I've been here for many, many, many years, and just let's freshly came out from the stage, second stage after at the beginning of this year, when I realized that what was the trap that I was trapped into and not able to get out. So this stage is that you already know about techniques. So you started your self-development. You already know that you have something to do with the 3D. But as you can see, I wrote here that everything I want is there. So you still believe that if you want something, if you want to manifest something that's out there, and then you need to do something to attract it here. So that's still quite a big separation. And then we believe that we need to do things in order to get something that is out there. So what we believed we need to do were all these techniques and methods. And when I say techniques and methods, I mean, of course, manifestation techniques and methods, but also everything else, like healing. Like so many of us went into the coachings and healings and all sorts of like letting go of this belief and reprogramming that and letting go of the trauma and the childhood and like, you know, and then you name it, like the 1 million different things that you thought you need to do, you must do in order to get what you want. And that's super stage 2, which means that I see that I believe 80% of spiritual seekers are still stuck in stage 2, in this never-ending healing, in this never-ending searching and seeking, and they don't know how to get over this. And then if we wrote there, like, you see, I actually put it like on the left is you and all your desires, and on the right is everything else that you want, your ideal body. It's the, you know, the lover that you desire, all the money and clients and pets and, you know, like I just put pets there, but from last time, but basically anything you want, the freedom, the wealth, the health, the connections, the community, or whatever you desire, it's there, and then you have to work hard to bring it here. So that's very much a separation still, and believing that there is something in between me and that something that is out there. And you know, and the biggest trap that it took or like locked me in this never-ending seeking and trying and healing is that when you don't get results, you start to do even more, and you have this weird belief that obviously I haven't done enough, so there must be another technique that it's going to work better, there is another healing method, there is another coach, another guru, and then instead of stepping back and understanding that the result cannot come from the same level where you created the problem, and we know this from Einstein. So you need to go one level higher. So you need to see it, or either step back one and then look it from there, or go one step higher and have it and look from there, and then you can change it. But the problem was for many of us that we were like on the same level from where we created the problem, and then trying to resolve it from there. And then, of course, pushing it harder and doing more. And yeah, that's what we thought that we have to do. So I know many of you can, or you recognize this pattern, that if something is not working, you just buckle up and do even more. And this was not how we should have done, but this is what we believed we need to do. So this is stage 2. Now, what I want to teach is, and I'm going to talk a lot more about, it's going to be this stage 3. So going from this, I'm here and what I want is there, into stage 3, where we actually understand that the 3D is me, like we both are the same thing. And this is when you see me here and me, my assumption, me, my desires, is in the middle of everyone and everything else. And this is, I think, the biggest realization when we understand this. And this is why I want to spend a lot of more time explaining this. But because when you understand that there's nothing, can nothing be outside of you, because you are the source, then it just all the power you ever given away to anything or anyone is going to come back right to you, because you understand, like, oh my God, it is a reflection. So this is what I want to go deeper and deeper today, and bringing you a lot of examples so you recognize your own pattern. So what I wrote here is that your stories, beliefs, assumptions are the source of your 3D. And we talked about this last time, that nothing, like anything you are, all your interaction with your partner, with your boss, with your business partner, with your neighbor, or your whoever, you are having interactions with, they only are based on who you believe you are and who believe they are, and who, like, your general beliefs. But the good news is that we don't have to go and look for all those beliefs and then change all those beliefs, because it would take us an eternity. And we did like quite a lot of us did before, so it didn't work. It's not how it works. So people and things and situations and conditions and circumstances are showing you what you have got going on inside. And we talked about this last time, but I want to repeat this. It's very important. They help you to live out the experience of the things you believe to be true. And so they are all behaving based on your beliefs about yourself. There's no other way, because you are the one standing in the middle of your universe. So what I've changed, though, compared to the last time's presentation, is that a very important story here, that there was a moment in your past. So when you look at your area of your life that you are not happy with, whatever that area of your life is, it's your health that you want to change, it's your wealth or financial reality, or it's your love reality or love relationship, or it's anything else in between, whatever that is for you. There was a moment in your past when you experienced something, and you made, based on that experience, you made a very powerful declaration in the moment about who you are. Something like you declared something there, and since then, since that consequence or conclusion that you created, that is being played out in your 3D reality. And I'm going to show you a crazy, mind-blowing example of this in my reality, in my life. So, because a very, very big truth that I've realized lately, and I never understood why all these big gurus are always saying that everything you desire, it's already here, right now, the moment you desire it. So there is no time. It's not that you need to manifest it and then eventually it's going to appear. Is by who we are, it already is created, because creation is complete. So there is nothing you need to create or manifest. The moment you desired it, it's here. But why we are not able to see it, it's because there is a story we're telling ourselves that it's not allowing us to bring that, or to bring that in our reality, basically to change between who you are today to who that version of you is, who is already experiencing that reality. So what I said here, that you cannot change your problem out there. You have to bring back your focus to you, and have a look of what the heck am I telling myself about that thing, that it's keep being created in the 3D. I'm keep seeing this in the 3D. Like, people are telling me, I'm hearing, from their mouth. And I'm like, why are you saying this? Because it's my story. So they're just helping you to realize what the heck you are saying and you don't want. So that's very, very, very powerful. I'm going to go deeper in explaining this. So the question is going to be, how do we shift? Like, how do I go from this reality that I'm seeing out there, that it's happening and it's not what I want, to actually what I desire? So I also said this last time, that everything, so all realities, all timelines already exist right here, right now, in potential. So if you look at what I put here on the left, you see that all these U's and all these little 3Ds related to those versions of you are all here in this blue, which last time I explained it, this is who you truly are. This is your higher self, or your true self, or your soul, or however you want to call it. And it's happening inside of that. So all these realities are in potential. And I even give you a very good example so you can imagine what I mean. So think about your TV and your TV set. And if you have a subscription somewhere, then you most probably have at least 100 channels, if not more channels. It doesn't matter. We have actually more than 200 channels right now. And then when you are watching one channel, you also know, right, that there are 199 other channels with films and programs and shows, and they're all running at the same time while you are only watching one. And the funny thing that you cannot watch two at the same time, right? You only can watch one. So you have to choose. What do you want to see? What do you want to enjoy your experience today? So reality is exactly the same thing. They're all running at the same time, but you are the one who chooses. This is what I want. This is what I want to experience. This is my truth. So I also said before that Bashar teaches us that we are shifting channels, right? The realities 20 million times per second anyway. But the problem is that it looks that we keep seeing the same story being reflected out there, is because we are choosing the same story. Like nothing is, like we don't have the realization of like, oh my God, like what the fuck? I don't want to, I don't want to say this story anymore, because most of the time is we're not conscious to the story. And what I am going to try to show you is that I created a way that you can, and this is going to be familiar to those of you who were in Soul Hub last year, but it's still a different one, similar but different one. And so you can recognize or go back to a moment where you made that huge decision that you forgot probably, and that's creating this unwanted reality. Because that's one way that, and this is, I believe, something that it helped me a lot, that I rewinded my story, like my timeline, and I'm like, okay, let me just check what the heck, like when did I say something, or what was the big, because it's usually an experience, it's a big emotional experience, that something that happened and then you made a decision. So this is what we're going to help you to go and find. It's not necessary to go back to this. And where we were talking about before in earlier calls, and so you can make this decision anytime. You can say no, like I don't want this anymore. And you remember the chronic thing that I used to have for 3 years. So there was a trigger there, and we're going to just talk about triggers in a second, like how powerful triggers are to help you change your mind about what you are experiencing. So no, you don't have to go back and become aware of like, when did you make that decision, then now it's playing out. You don't need to. I will help you to do it if you want to do so, because for me, as I said, it helped me tremendously to realize like, oh my God, now I understand everything. But we talked about this before. It's not important. You can do this anytime you want, and it will happen anyway. So what did I say here? Right. So when you change your mind about something, or you make a new decision and you declare a new truth, you're going to shift in one of these other identities, other versions of you here. And the funny thing, which is another thing that it blew my mind away, that this version of you already comes with a set of thoughts, beliefs, emotions. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to try to figure out how that version of you thinks, feels, blah, 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 relates to that thing, because it's kind of comes, it's a manifestation of that version. So it's so much simpler. We don't have to believe, we don't have to do all the things that we did before, because it's automatic. The moment you say, this is how it is, like it's basically you jump timelines, you jump new realities. So remember, we talked about this in the previous calls. I gave you a lot of examples with my chronic disease, with the eyesight. We talked about this, like, I don't know, the house. We talked about a million things, and today I'm going to share like 3-4 more. So because I know examples help so much more than the theory.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so here's the example. Now, this is it's a vulnerable example of mine from my private life, very private life. But I really thought, like, I really, really want to take you behind the scenes of how crazy things work and how we do this without realizing it. So, and then, of course, I'm going to also share another one, but this is mine. Now I'm taking you back in time. We're talking kind of almost like 12 years back in time, which means that I didn't know about this story before. Like, so all the things I'm teaching now, I didn't know. But now that I know, I went back in the last 1 week to all my manifestations, and all the manifestations happened exactly the same way. So that's what I realized. Oh my God, we are all doing it. It's always the same. There's always the same process, but we are not aware of it. So the moment you become aware of it, you have freedom. So here's the step-by-step thing that happened. So we go back actually 15 years ago when it all first started. And it all started with me saying yes to a man that I was not physically attracted to. I had my own reasons why I said, okay, let's, try this, relationship. But it all came with me saying yes to something that probably I shouldn't have had to, but this doesn't make any sense, because you will understand how crazy reality works. So anyway, I said, okay, let's be together. And that one decision took me to, because I dismissed, obviously, my intuition. And I also felt like this is not really what I want, but I didn't listen to that intuition, into that resistance in my body. So I went on and I said, okay, let's just do this. So what happened, obviously, that I had some with this man we've been together for a few months. So I had a lot of bad sexual experiences, of course, because it was not a good match for me. So I went on with this, relationship for a few months. So I collected a lot of experiences that were not good. And while I was collecting this, eventually, after another bad experience, I made a decision. Sorry. And I actually remember saying that sex is not good. I don't like it. And I just want to get quickly over it. And I don't even know why people like it. It didn't make sense to me, because I was not able to have pleasure, obviously. So I just declared this truth about me and about, sorry, I just need to cough. Need to drink a little bit of water. Okay. So Okay, so I made this decision, and then, okay, what happens afterwards? That this reality starts playing out in my life. So we broke up with this man, but because I have the identity that I don't like sex, and it's not good, and I just, just pain in the neck. All the experiences that will come afterwards, it's going to be similar. I don't know why. Something is, sorry, it's bothering me. Give me just a second. Ah. I just feel like something went on on the side, and it's so like bothering me. I hope I can just continue this. Okay, whatever. I will start not to just talk maybe a little bit not that strong. Okay. Sorry. I found the silence button, which is good news. Okay, I'm going to just put back the presentation. I thought that by me stopping the presentation will stop the sound, but it didn't. So we can go back to the presentation. Okay, so what happened afterwards, right? Is that because I declared that this is who I am, like I don't like it and it's not good. Afterwards, I started to have a lot of similar experiences, even though the men I was choosing, I already felt very attracted, but still things were not working, obviously, because I already declared that this is who I am and my reality. So what happens afterwards, right? Very logical. I go to therapy because this is the way that we believe that it's the way we need to fix things. So because I believe something is wrong with me, obviously, things are not working in bed. So I have to go and find a solution. So I start therapy. And I think I went like 9 months to therapy. I tried different things, but I was very consistent, and none of these brought any results. And then this is very important because it's always the same. You have a trigger. So triggers are so valuable when you understand that they are offering you a way out. They are offering you that freedom that you are longing for, because triggers are showing you that you are holding something that it's not true for you, something that it's the opposite of your desire. So the trigger was that I go home and my boyfriend breaks up with me, and he says, I cannot wait for you anymore. I know you're going to therapy and all that, and you're trying very hard, but I just gave up on us, and I'm sorry, but we're done. Now that triggered in me everything that you can imagine. It made me so angry. It made me disappointed, sad, and all the emotions that you can imagine, especially because I've done everything I could, right? I really, really done, and I worked on it, and I tried, and it didn't work. And of course, that area of our lives was always failure, and I always very, very often rejected him. So he got all his wounds, and now he said, I'm done. Now, very interestingly, I had all these freaking emotions like anger and all that. It's like I'm freaking done with this shit, and then like I'm so angry. And then what happened that pushed me into like, let's make sex, like the breakup sex. So that basically all that anger in me, we started to make love. So what happened is that I was so angry that I remember saying to myself, this is have to fucking work, like I can't believe that this is happening, like this must work. And because I used all that fuel of all those emotions, and I basically pushed me towards to another reality. And in that moment, actually, it just break free, and I finally had my first ever orgasm, and not just one, but like 10, one after the other. And I remember, like, I was sitting there like, oh my God, like what the, I was just blown away. And I said, like, oh, now I understand why people love this, like, now it makes so much sense. And then I declared, well, this is freaking easy. This is amazing. Like, I'm just so good at doing this, So all of a sudden I created a different reality or a different decision. I made a different decision. Like, this is freaking good, and this will work. Like, this is easy. And now I'm free. And I remember he even said to me, oh shit, now that I, like, I assisted for so many months, I was with you for like an year, and then we had all these problems and it never worked. And now finally that I broke up with you, now you work. Yeah, like, it works. Like, and now somebody else is going to reap the fruits of my hard work. And I said, well, sorry, but this is how things are. So I really, and then of course, afterwards, my reality completely changed it to the opposite, right? So it basically, the moment that I declared that, everything that came afterwards, it was sustaining my new reality. And so this is very similar to the story that I told you about the chronic disease, that while I said, I was identifying with having the problem and going and finding the solution, we can never solve a problem on the same level, right? So this is the exact same story, that the trigger in that story, like, I didn't realize that I am telling, like, I have this problem and then nothing helps, and nobody can help me, and I've tried a million things and nothing worked. And then the trigger came in when I was reading the book, right in the doctor's office. And that one sentence that said to me, you can change it right here, right now, just declare it, and know that this has happened, and feel that it has happened. That completely triggered me into, like, oh, what? It's just this is it? Of course, like, fuck this shit. I'm just so freaking tired of this. I'm done. And you remember, boom, like, the moment that I said it's done, I'm healthy, boom, it shifted me into a new reality. And from that moment, I didn't have any symptoms whatsoever, whether before, for 3 years, I have every day continuously the same, experience with inflammation and all the things that came with it. So that's exactly the same process. Now, this is true for everything. And because there is a story we're telling ourselves and we don't realize, and then we see it in the 3D, and then we don't remember that we made that decision. And this is why I wanted to bring this here today, so I can help you to rewire back into the timeline to where did you bring, and what was the decision you bring, so you can bring a new one. Now, I also put down there Anita Moriarty's experience, which is, I don't know if you know her, but if you know her story, if you don't know, go to YouTube, but I'm going to tell you in 2 words how crazy her experience is. Again, so there's always something, right? There's an experience which is very emotional, and then you make a conclusion, and that conclusion is going to be your new reality, your new truth, and it's going to be played out in 3D until you bring a new truth, a new belief, a new assumption. You basically change your mind. So in her case, right, her friend dies of cancer. So now, because that was a huge, crazy experience, she gets freaked out and she says, I don't want to die of cancer. So she starts doing a lot of things so she avoids to have cancer. But while she's doing this, she already declared that, cancer is very I don't know what was her declaration, but basically, oh my God, you can die anytime. Anyone who is even in a very good physical shape can die of cancer. So I have to make sure that I prevent that. And when she said that, right, all her focus went, and I need to prevent to have cancer. So she started to prevent it, which is, yeah, okay, I'm back, apparently. It just disconnected, which is okay. So let me go back to the presentation. Right. So her story, right? We're back to Anita's story. So she started to make sure she's not going to have cancer. So basically she put all her attention to never have cancer. But now if all day you are thinking about cancer and you're learning about foods to be healthy, and then she went to extremes and she was avoiding million type of things and million types of, poisons and food and also kind of things. Okay, one day she's diagnosed with cancer. It's not a big surprise. So what happens that the more she wants to become healthier, because she never focuses on becoming healthier, she's always still trapped in this crazy mindset of cancer. She starts to accelerate her stuff, the illness, and then she basically goes to hospital. She's like 40 kilos, and she goes into coma. All her organs starts shutting down, and she's in fourth level cancer, stage cancer. So basically they say goodbye, family says goodbye, it's done. So she dies, basically she goes to coma, and she goes back, right? Back up, I would say, out of her body. And this is where finally she understands the message that stop, stop creating what you don't want. So her spirit guides, now that she was out of the body, she was able to listen. So she understands that she is creating her own cancer by trying to escape to be and have cancer. And then she's done this for many, many, many years. And she understands that she created it, and she needs to shift to I am healthy and I can eat everything because I'm healthy. And it's crazy, but she comes back, right, from this near-death experience, and I think in 3 weeks she's completely free of cancer in the hospital. So they keep her there and testing on her and trying and doing million checkups, because nobody believed that this is possible, because she basically was like done. And she recovers, and then 6 weeks later she leaves the hospital, and then since then she is sharing her story and teaching her story, how you are creating your reality. So the same thing. So this is very, very, very powerful to realize what the heck you're telling yourself that you don't want. Now, the next slide is about you are your own savior, of course, because you realize there's no one else out you doing anything to you. So I try to start it with, again, emphasizing that you don't need to know what the heck you're telling yourself. You can just say, this is what I desire, this is what I want, and that's done. And triggers are amazing to help you do that. Okay, I'm looking for who is not silence, because I hear a lot of...
It's me.
Yeah, I find Anja. Yeah, okay, sorry. I could hear a lot of background noise. Okay, so again, you can choose any time with any contrast. Contrast means that something is happening in your reality. You have a thought that triggers you into that lack, into that pain. That's your opportunity. So you realize, no, heck no, this is not what I want. Or any trigger, any situation that it triggers you, or any moment, any situation, you can say no, like, no, this is not what I want. This is what I want. This is who I am. And I was so, no more, I'm done, fuck this shit. Like, I love this. It's a little bit too harsh if you don't if you don't talk this way. Well, don't use this, use whatever works for you. But here's the process that I actually used in going back and finding where I made a decision that I don't remember, but now it's playing out in my reality. So first, of course, you want to identify the area of your life that you want to change. So the one that you are not happy with, whatever that is. So I don't know, you want more money, you want health, you want love, you want freedom, you want success, whatever you want. And this is similar a little bit to the process we were doing last year for those of you who were in Soul Hub. But you don't need to go into meditation. You don't need to do anything really. You can just think back to the time before things started to decay. So before things changed. And now you see that reality that you don't want. Many of us, sometimes we just need to go back maybe a few months or a few years. Very, very rarely you go back a lot of years, like rarely. It depends what we're talking about. So for example, you say, I'm going to give you a lot of examples, and a very, very, very powerful example is of a client of mine that we did a few days ago. And he was also about this sexual, he has sexual problems, right? So it's never works. He always, his relationships become like friendships or flatmates. At the beginning it works for like a couple of months, and then something happens and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, it just falls apart. And this was true for every relationship he ever had. Now he really tried everything, all the methods and techniques and healers and whatever. He tried everything. And the other day he came to me and we were talking, and I said to him, so what's the problem? He said, I would really, really, really want to have like amazing love making experiences, because I never had that. And it makes me so sad, because like everybody's telling me that something is wrong with me. And this is what I'm experiencing. Something is wrong with me. And I even worked in my past lives, and I had this and hypnotherapy, and nothing ever changed. So I said to him, okay, so tell me the last time, like go back in your mind and tell me the last time that it was good. And he said, well, okay, so let me think back. I'm like, maybe you have to go to your ever first sexual experience. And he says, well, actually, yes. He says, like, it was never really good. So I'm like, okay, go back to the last time that you remember that something happened. And in this area. I see that, okay, I can remember. It was my first ever experience. I'm 14. And we are in the backyard with this girl, and I really like her. She's so beautiful. And we start to do things there, and then things are going well. And all of a sudden, I have this thought. I have no idea what I have to do. And then I block. And I'm there, I froze, like basically I'm there, and I'm like, I don't know what what I have to do. And she's like, and then I'm seeing how this, girl is looking at me like, are you going to do now something? Are you continuing? What the heck, And then, and he's like, there, like, with this one thought going round and round. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then basically he got blocked there for 28 years in this, I don't know what I have to do. And I'm like, okay, so his identity is, I don't know what I have to do. Super powerful. So I said to him, okay, now look at all your relationships and tell me, is this the problem that it always comes to you when you are there with someone? And it's like, oh shit. Like, oh my God, this is exactly what I always kind of, experience. Like I always think about this, and I'm always trying to overcome it with like being technical and trying to do this and I'm thinking all the time. And he said, so many women told me, you are in your head, like you are not here. And he's like, because I was never able to connect with my like sexual powers, right, with my lower chakras, because I'm stuck in my head thinking what I'm supposed to do. And he's like, and you know what? It's not only this, but my whole freaking life, in everything I ever need to do new, I always think I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So he says, this is crazy, but basically my whole entire life is being dictated by this one decision that I made when I was 14. And I'm like, Well, you know, this is super powerful because I said to him, do you see that it was just an innocent decision that you made without realizing it? And now you are just keep running the same story. And of course, your whole reality is going to be a reflection of that. All your, you know, relationships, your jobs, everything is around that one identity. So I said to him, now you have the opportunity. You had opportunity a million times when you were triggered to say, no, I'm done. No, this is going to work. This works. I know what I'm doing. And allowing himself to go down into a deeper knowledge, because it's instinctual, right? Like how to have sex is instinctual. Nobody needs to teach you because it's you know, it's animalistic, it's basic survival instinct. And yet he never made another decision in all these years when he was triggered, or when women said to him, what the heck you doing, you know? He just should have said, fuck, like I know what I'm doing, you know? And he really allowing himself to come down into a more, you know, into his body. But he never did that until now that he discovered, oh, like, oh my God, like I said to him, you need to make another decision now that you are aware, to say, no, I know what I'm doing. I always know what I'm doing. And that's it. That is going to create a new, complete new set of 3D reality. So here is a technique that I came up for you. Now, it's very powerful. I combined actually some of the things, a little bit of quantum jump and a little bit of this and that, and a little bit of family constellation, and I made up a new thing. So, because what we really, really want is to be able to merge with that new you who says, I am healthy, or I'm successful, or I'm freaking, or whatever is your thing, that I can have what I want, or whatever is the thing that you want to allow yourself to shift into. And I'm going to go through this now. Of course, maybe in this call, I'm just going to go, of course, through the whole presentation. And then in the future calls, I'm going to be doing this with you. We can do hot seats and coach you through an example like this. But you can do it alone at home. It's super simple. So here we go. The first is that so I really invite you to just spend a few minutes in this chair and really go back to try to identify that big, I don't want to call it traumatic experience, but something that was really powerful for you. So it's obviously packed with emotions, where you created this decision. So you go back and you're like, oh yeah, like that was really, before that everything was okay. So this is where you want to go back. Like before that thing, everything was going well for me. And then that thing happened. And then you're like, so what did I actually said when that thing happened? What conclusion did I make about myself, or assumptions I made about myself, or about this thing in general, about money in general, or about whatever is going on? And then when you have that, right, that's the identity you're running right now, the version of you that is running that truth. That's second, right? So first you sit down in the chair, whatever chair you choose, because you need two chairs, right? You're going to have a chair you sit down into, and then you want to have another chair in front of you. That's going to be the version of you, which is a parallel. So that or both of you are at the same time present. But what we want, and I'll help you to do, is that you shift from the story, the identity, the version of you that you're running right now, to the version of you that is running a different reality. So second is that, of course, you are aware of the truth, the identity, whatever you decided. I'm going to give you like in this case of this client is like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to give you, after these steps, another example from my reality, because I have quite a lot, you know, all of us have. And then and how I realized, oh my God, like this is what I'm keep telling myself. And then the moment I realized, I said, no, like, no, no, this is not what I want. This is what I want. So whatever is that, right? I cannot find love, or I'm sick. I can't have this no matter what I do, or I'm a failure, or whatever you was the thing that you decided that you are. And when you're done with that, so you have that story, I also want you to, while you're sitting in that chair, to be aware of how it makes you feel, and just become aware of your body. Then with your eyes closed, that you imagine now your new identity. So you kind of imagine yourself in another version of you sitting in the chair in front of you. So that's going to be that self who has a different reality, right? A different truth, which is, I am healthy. I was always healthy. So that she never created the conclusion that you created. And now what you want is, because for some of us, right, it's difficult to change to another us if there is no trigger, like if there's no fuel, because fuels and triggers are so like powerful, because it's going to serve as a fuel to say, I'm freaking done. Because sometimes, and that's why affirmations rarely work, because people they are not really get to the moment there where it's just so painful, this identity they are running, that they really get to the point they say, I'm done. And triggers are when you are just so angry or so disappointed or so frustrated that you're able to say, I'm done. So when we are just like thinking about something or imagining something or daydreaming about something or affirming something, there is no power, there's no conviction in it. And if this is really one important thing, that you need to make that decision with conviction, like, and that conviction usually comes from being sick and tired of whatever you've been telling yourself. So you really want to some of the anger that you're holding, or some of this, I'm so sick and tired. So just go back into the last trigger you have with that area of your life. So you bring up some of that stuff that you can really use to push you in this other reality. Don't worry if you don't get all this. As I said, you're going to have the whole presentation. You can go through it in your own time, and then I'm going to come back and then explaining and then show it to you with someone, and you're going to get it. So now you are imagining this new version of you in front of you on the chair. So that's the version of you who is having a new reality, right? So that's her. She already is in love. She already knows that she is loved, and she is loved, and whatever you are manifesting. Now, step 6 is that you feel and know that both versions are right here and right now, and both are perfect. Now, this is so important. You don't, the version of you who is running this truth is also perfect. And this was very important for me to understand, that I don't have to fix this version of me, because she just made a decision, and then now she is seeing that decision being shown in her 3D reality, because as we said, that's who we are. The 3D reality is just playing out what we hold truth. So in understanding there's nothing wrong with this version of you, and then you just have this freedom to choose another version, it's very important, because then you don't have any resistance towards the version and towards reality, because that's why people cannot change, because they are not able to accept that it's okay who they are, or this version of them, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. And then when you're ready, then you imagine that self who is what exactly you want. and then you imagine sitting in front of you. You want to stand up from your chair and then sit down, and really with that awareness that now you are merging with that identity, that version of you. That is what you have chosen now. And then just feeling that, like it's just you sitting down in her, in him, right? So it's like basically syncing up, merging with that person, with that version of you. And then you want to say out loud and with conviction, because now you use the trigger, the emotions from the trigger to say, this is who I am. And then you declare who you are. Like I am healthy, or because you understand that it's you doing it. You are in the middle of your universe, you doing the creation, your story is being reflected. So there's no one else. So understanding that, you also understand that the moment you change the story, everything changes around you. Right? And then you sit there for as long as you want. You sit there allowing this to feel into this new version of you. And you sit there for as long as you want, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however you want. And then very important part, you stand up as this new identity. So because you just chose a new identity, a new version, and all these versions are all happening at the same time. So you just make it more real, that instead of doing it in your head, saying, no, I'm done, you actually do more an embodiment. This is why I came up with this. So it helps you to actually do something physical. So it might be more powerful for some of you. You don't need it. It's just me showing you that you can try this, because maybe it can help you. You can do it in a car as well, that you're going from the driving seat into the passenger seat. It's like, this is who I am. Right? And then you stand up as the new identity. So this is, you just said it. So this is who you are from now on. You can repeat it if you feel like, but listen to your intuition. You can do it maybe, a few days later if you want to, but if you've done it once, it's enough. But then you want to stay in the being of this. Like, this is who I said I am from now on. And then the last slide, we got to this last slide. Just a few reminders here that you allow now this new declaration, this new truth to unfold in your 3D naturally. And you don't fall for the old story. So you might have you might have the 3D, the old 3D, which was still, the reflection of your old truth still being played out after you made the new decision. So what we talked about it before is that you don't fall for the old circumstances, for the old stories. Whatever is happening in your 3D, it doesn't mean anything now, because you have chosen who you are. So when you say, this is who I am, you know that now it might need your 3D a little bit of time to start showing this new truth that you just declared. So don't fall for the 3Ds that you see. Like, whatever you see or you feel or you hear, you say it doesn't mean anything. So let's say you look at, I don't know, whatever the story is. And I'm going to give you another crazy examples of how I just discovered one of my stories with this relationship stuff. And I didn't realize that this is what I'm doing until not a long time ago, like last week, that I went and I said, okay, so let's have a look what the heck is happening here. And this is very, very powerful. So that's why I've done it with myself. So I'm inviting you to do it for yourself, because it's so powerful. So I said, okay, so I've been single here for 2 years, right? I apparently want to be with someone. I'm apparently ready for divine union. I've done all the visualizations and I all these, people here, clairvoyants and all that, saying like, it's here, I will see it, it's right next to you. So as we know, right, the moment we desire it, it's here, right? It's manifested. So just because we don't see it because we are not allowing it into our reality. So we know this is a fact. So the question is, what the heck I'm doing or telling myself so this thing cannot come into my reality? So this is the whole story about, right? So then I went back and I'm like, let me think back the last time that I was happy. And I was happy with this area of my life, right? And I said, it's 10 out of 10. So I went back to 10 out of 10. And then I was started to look like, okay, so what happened from after that, right? After that, I was like, so good, so good, so good. And then something happened. And of course, what happened is that we broke up, right? I broke up and I said, no, this is not what I want. And then it was good, good, good. And then eventually it started like, nothing happened and nothing happened and nothing happened. And like the new thing was not coming in. And I really looked very, very, very honestly into that mirror. And I said, what am I telling myself here? Because I was keep consciously saying, oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. But it's not true, because if I was ready, that was in 3D, that would be the manifestation. Just to realize that I was still energetically with my ex. And that completely blew my mind. I almost fell off the bed when that came to me, like, oh my God. And there were so many signs there, like dreaming with him. And, there's many, many signs that I didn't realize that I was still holding on to. And even though I did cutting cords and, letters and whatever I did in the last 2 years, but I was still dreaming with him. And I didn't realize that there is a reason why I'm dreaming with him. I was like, yeah, whatever, that's okay. And I also didn't realize why I don't feel lonely, why I don't have the need for that divine union, why I'm not like, but where is he? Why is not here? Where is he? Why I'm feeling so peaceful and almost feel like in a relationship. And the big trigger for me, or the big thing was for me a few days ago when I was talking to a friend, explaining my relationships and what we've grown there and what we did and how we changed and how we healed and how we helped each other and all that. And then I was so excited about the story that I could hear myself. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, this sounds as if we were still together. Like the way I'm talking about it, it doesn't sound as if it's an ex from 2 years ago, right? It really sounds as if that was still true. And that for me was like a huge waking up, saying like, oh my God, now I understand. Is that the version of me who I was few days ago was still with him without realizing it. So not single, not available. And when I realized that, I said, oh my God, but there's nothing wrong with that version of me. I don't have to fix her. I just had to realize that she's still choosing that, which is fair enough. But then I was like, oh, but no, like I don't want to have making love in my dreams. I want to make a love in real life. And I don't want to have this feeling of like, I'm not alone. I actually want physical connection and I want to be actually with someone. So in that moment, I already, because it was a whole like, hello. And it was like, wow, okay. I'm like, thank you so much, Agnes, for this experience, but I'm choosing a different reality. And the reality is I'm available and I'm ready. And, let's do this. And because that's what, like, and this is, it's big because so many people are out there who I've heard their stories and it didn't make sense for me. Like, they say, I've done everything, right? I've done everything, all this scripting and journaling and manifestation. There is something that you are not aware of, that you are running something there in the back. And this is how you can find it. You can really go back to the time. And this is so crazy, but I even remember him telling me, you will never find better than me. and that kind of sink in, and now that I was rewiring, I was like, oh, and then he said, you will never find someone like me. And then I kind of said, I think, okay. And then just, went on with that reality. So triggers or any type of thing that is there to help you to wake up from whatever you're telling yourself, because it's holding you apart from your desire. So please, if there is a thought that comes up and you're like, why? Or an emotion or a situation or someone is telling you something, use that to wake up and become aware of what's the story. So there's a million other stories that I could tell you, and I have from the past where it just changed just like that because I said no. And we talked about this before, right? That Jessica also said this and that was happening, as she said, you know, with her car, and she said no. And then all of a sudden things started to unfold at the opposite way. So just think about your version. I know you've done this a million times in other things in your life, and you were not aware. So what you have to do now is to just use it for that one area or two areas in your life which you want to change. So only using the same thing you're always using, but now with awareness. Right. So I hope that was you understood. That made sense to you. This is what I wanted to say. How can I? Oh, this is how can I get out? Right. Maybe it was just again too much, too packed.
That was good.
Sorry, but I really wanted to make it from the beginning till the end. So it actually you can go back and then, you know, and just take the bits and pieces that you want, the bits and pieces that was powerful for you. And then you just contemplate on them. You just think about them. You just go back and like, oh yeah, I remember that time in my life where actually after that, everything went downhill. So you want to go back and see what the heck did I decide there about who I am, like I'm a failure or whatever, or things never work out for me, or relationship don't work out for me, or whatever you created there. And then just become aware, like, oh my God, yes, that's where I said that. And then there you go. This is how that unfolds in my reality since then. And then there where you take back your power, because you realize there was never, ever anyone outside of you who was doing that to you other than you. So you can just say no. Thank you. Well, I'm done with that. Claire, how are you? Was it too much?
Well, I think it was beautifully explained, and the more I can visualize and understand what's going on, the more that's helpful. My only problem is that I can't think of a trigger moment. I think I have felt from I don't know when that I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to have money. I don't deserve anything. But I don't remember a trigger moment. It's just been part of my life, without my knowing. And the result was, of course, that in my marriage, my husband regarded me as inferior because I regarded myself as inferior, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I triggered myself out of my marriage and tried to start myself anew. But I think that's still a background feeling in my subconscious a lot, which doesn't help to manifest.
Right. But it doesn't, look, the good news, it doesn't matter what is your subconscious mind, because you are much powerful than your subconscious mind. And this is, again, another, I believe it's not true, because the moment, and I had a client the other week, right? And I said to her, she was also about this, like, and I said to her, this is such a fucked up belief that we were told that 95% of the day of your life, you are run, like your whole life is run by a subconscious mind, that you don't even know what the heck is going on there. So that is the worst belief that we can have, that we actually buy into this bullshit, that you are completely powerless towards something that is ruling and running your life, which is not true. I mean, it's true when you say it's true and you run with this, and then you try to now fight that with 1 million different techniques and methods, because you think that now your subconscious is your new enemy, which I did. So I know it didn't help me until the moment I said, no, like I am the boss. It's happening what I say. And then no, like the moment I said, no, I am more powerful than my subconscious mind, all of a sudden things are starting to show me that I'm right. So you really have to be angry at saying, no, like it doesn't matter what I believed when I was 6. based on whatever thing that I was doing. And then my father or whoever came and said, no, Claire, you don't deserve that cake because you did not do your homework. And then you are like, oh yeah, I don't deserve this thing because I wasn't a good girl. And then basically you never made a new decision. You never said, fuck this shit. Like, I do deserve everything I desire because I am Claire, you know, and because doesn't matter why, because I said so, because I am the creator of my reality. So you don't need permission from anyone to let you do whatever you want to do in your own reality as a creator of your own reality. So you could change your mind anytime, and it doesn't matter why you change your mind, and you don't have to do anything to go back and then just like keep trying to find when was the moment. It doesn't matter. I said that if you want to, you can go. But if when you were 6, then you say, oh my God, like I was 6 and I believed this one thing. So like it was enough time for me to go with this one belief and then pretend that I don't deserve anything. So it's just about time to say no and just choose something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just say, this is so because I said so. And because this is how reality works. When you realize that your reality is just a reflection of what you say it's true. So
yes. Yeah. That's helpful. Yeah.
and this is what I really, really want to do in these coming calls. I want you to come with your story, whatever is your story, but because I want you to understand that you don't need anything else. You don't need to think that there's anything else missing for you to be able to choose right here, right now, something new for yourself. Just because I'm tired of not having what I want. You know, like you don't have to come up with a reason. It's because you want it. That's the reason.
Right. That's a nice, simple reason.
I think it's a beautiful reason. You don't need a better reason than I want it. I want it and I can have it. By the way, super powerful quote from Ariana Grande, which I don't listen to, by the way, but the other day it was on the radio and she was singing this song. It's called 7 Rings. And she sang the chorus and I was like, wow, okay, so this is basically what all of us has to repeat. It's the beautiful manifestation formula. She says, I see it. Very important. I see it. So either you see it in the 3D or you see it in your imagination. Doesn't matter, right? She says, I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it. It's like, I was like, whoa. Okay. So listen again. She says, I see it. Right? Again, it doesn't matter if you see it in your imagination or you actually seeing it. And then she says, I want it. And then she says, no, I see it, I like it, right? So basically, I want it. And then she goes past tense, I got it. Right? There is nothing in between. And you have to understand there is nothing in between. There was never anything in between. I like it, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Is like, yeah, this is who I am. Like there's nothing, in between there. So don't put a gap between I want it and I have to make something in order to get it. Or she doesn't say, I want it, so I'm going to work hard to get it. Or I want it and I will eventually manifest, or I want it and I will figure out what's wrong with me and then heal and then, change all these beliefs and fight my subconscious patterns. And like, she just said, I got it. Like, I got it means like it's already here. And I want it. And of course I got it, like, duh.
Yes.
So this is where we have to come back into like, I'm the creator. So if I said so, that's going to happen. And we are just waking up to the power that we possess, that there always was us. It always was we saying, this is my truth. But maybe we didn't realize that we just running a truth that we don't like. I don't want this. Well, yeah, just say that you want something else and just declare that. I want it so I can have it. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start having proof of that. And that's how simple it is.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your input. Anyone else want to add something to that? Or you have a question around this? Was it clear? Was it, did you get any aha out of that? Any realization? Renata, how was it for you? Do you, was it easy to understand in English? Or was it too fast or too much, too high level?
No, it's good. I understand everything, and I was meanwhile closing the eyes, imagine, and do like the exercise.
Yeah.
So let's look how it works.
Yeah, good. It's good that you did it while I was talking. You can also do it in your own time. So in a moment that you have at home, 10 minutes that you, or as I said, even in the car. Like the idea is that you actually do movement. So you have this ability to really imagine that there is another version of you sitting next to you, maybe in the car, and then imagine her there, like imagine how that she is. If, for example, let's say we're talking about money, so she's making 15,000 per month or whatever it is, or 5,000, I don't know, something, and then it's like she's already doing that. She's super, like, she believes about herself that it's easy for her. She's easy to be paid for being herself. Nothing is not difficult. She doesn't have to do any effort. It's just working. And she believes, like, I can make, or money is, is loving me, or I love money, and it's always here, and we always have BFF. We are best friends forever, or whatever, right? So and then you imagine that version of yourself, and then you basically you feel into the version of what you have believed before, or whatever happened, and then you had that failed deal, and then and you created maybe a weird decision about who you are and how you do business, or how things work for you. Or because I know I have other clients the other day said, nothing ever works out for me. Jesus, that's powerful. And never anything ever works out for me. Like, with that decision, that's really hard life. And then you try to fix that in 3D, now realizing that you are the source, like your decision, it's all coming from you. So there's nothing to do out there. You have to come back and change that decision. And very, very powerful. The other story, one session I did with this new client, she put down the antidepressants in 1 week, because I showed her that it's all happening because she believes that her power is out there, but her power is in herself, and she is the source. She is the God in her reality. And it was so powerful. I said this to her, and all of a sudden she's like, well, then I don't need the antidepressant. It was so like, wow. She's like, I'm done. Like, I don't need this. And I'm like, yeah, of course you don't need it. She put it down in 1 week, one session. So now I realize that healing is not necessary. You just need to understand that your power is to just make a different choice. And you say, I don't need this. It's, I am in charge of my life. And it blew my mind, because I remember it before when we were doing, healing techniques. It takes, like, even with like psychology or psychotherapy, can take you 10 years to do this. So maybe not even 10 years can help you to put down the antidepressants. Because I had clients like that, 15 years psychotherapy, and in 6 sessions we completely completed the whole cycle. And she went, like, all her reality changed, and she was like, gee, And it's like, yeah, this is the power when you realize that it's your choice, that you don't need anyone out there. You don't even need a therapist to hold your hand. You just have to understand that you is you. You just make a different decision, your reality changes. So I hope this was powerful for you as well. And I'm going to share it in Messenger and then go back, watch it, or like read it again. And now that I'm not talking is going to be even more powerful, that you are just taking what is for you, or the sentences that are talking to you the most, and allow them to work in you, allow to meditate or contemplate on those, like, whoa, okay, especially if you can kind of watch that area of your life back and realize, oh yeah, like I remember how this affected, I can see how this affected me, and that's when you realize I'm just one choice away. You might be able to just do the choice right there when you realize it, or just use triggers. If you have triggers, just you have to choose again and again and again and again. And that's it. Eventually, you will just have that full conviction that now I'm really done. And it happened to many of us. Many times I said, and I repeated, and I chose, and then it was not that with that much conviction. And so, of course, you still see the old 3D playing out. But as I said, it doesn't mean anything. This is who I am. It doesn't mean anything. This is who I am. So that helps you to reaffirm your new identity. Okay. That's all I wanted to say. One more thing that I still wanted to say. I'm thinking for us to go into a membership site where I can arrange the courses, where I can arrange by topics, because YouTube doesn't allow me to actually have a normal, obviously, like a membership site. And so we have like a normal community and a calendar and stuff like that. So I was looking to go to this called School, SKOOL, and nothing will really change. We're going to have the same Zoom calls, but that's where we can actually have posts and we can, do other things. So it's a beautiful place that allows a community to evolve. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about this more, and we can actually be more proactive there, because it's created to be a membership and a community. But I will tell you more about this on another call. Go and have an amazing day if it's morning for you, or a beautiful night. And the next call, we're going to go more into your stories, okay? So applying everything that we just talked about, and then bringing it into okay, so this is what's going on. Now, if you need, I can help you to find the story that you created and that belief you created, or anything you feel that you need. That's what we're going to do. All right. Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
guys, it was awesome having
It was
you.
amazing, Agnes. I really loved it. I got some aha moments, while
awesome.
you're talking, and with I saw how vulnerable you were with your story, and I saw myself in that, just so you know.
Yeah.
So you're not alone.
Yeah, well, of course, they are very, very private stories
Yes.
of how we
Yeah.
are doing and creating.
That's why you started coughing.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know why. I was
No.
like, I couldn't stop.
And I was like, let me send her some love, because you could just
No,
put there, you're like, what's so triggering to you? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I would be the same if I would be you, because it was the same for me too. So yeah,
as you can see, I'm putting everything out here, my heart.
I want to really appreciate your vulnerability, because it's so hard sometimes, to open ourselves, open like that, open our hearts, to just show me who I really am, and you take me as I am.
Because it's, of course, yes, because it's everything you want to keep secret, right? Like normally we don't want to talk about you know, bedroom secrets, taboo. It's all of that is taboo. Money and sex is taboo. And we
Oh my
basically,
God.
I'm keep talking about money and sex. So of course,
You know what my ex-husband told me? Because when he said that, I just remember I started laughing because he told me that nobody's gonna marry you. They just wanna you know, fuck you. That's it, because you're beautiful. Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
guys
you're
did.
attractive, you're beautiful, and that's all they want, you know. Just I'm like, yeah, I was like, watch me. Yeah, I'm the rebellious type. Yeah, I don't take this one. It's about relationships. It's easy for me to deal with, but with the finances and the health, I have some blocks. Like you said, I had to remember what happened that triggered my current finances issues,
It's
because
going to be
I
really,
didn't have them
really easy
before,
when
you
see it.
know. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
because
was
the
like,
moment you say, this is what I want to find, your mind will help you to find it. So this is how it
yeah,
works.
yeah. We just have to go back on the timeline and see when was that, and it was
Yeah,
something
just
like
go
really
back
that
to the
really was.
moment before
Yeah, that
everything,
moment.
like the moment that was still good. So
Yeah.
whatever was that, and then start watching from there. Like, okay, so what
Yeah.
happened? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, see you guys next week then.
Thank you so much. Love you all. Mwah.
Yeah,
Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.